Hi, welcome to the Wondrous Women podcast. I'm Helen Pugh, and for many years I've been researching women throughout history for my books. My first children's books were Inca-tastic tales and Jungle-tastic tales, both set in South America, because I lived in Ecuador for over 7 years and studied Spanish at university, along with Italian, but that's mostly forgotten now. Anyway, for Inca-tastic tales and Jungle-tastic tales, I came across lots of inspiring women, such as the first woman to go down the Amazon River, Inca royalty, footballers, and much more. I've also written books set in Somerset, a county here in England, which is where I grew up and where I've returned to as an adult. Those books are Unsung Women in Somerset, which comes as a standard edition and a junior edition, as well as my latest book, On This Day in Somerset, A Calendar of Women. Equally, I've researched tons of amazing women for these books, plus a few villains. Throughout this podcast, I'm going to address different groups of women, such as the suffragettes, witches, artists, and so on. And I'll be looking at the challenges and opportunities that affected these women. You could ask, why look only at women? Well, in general, women have been overlooked in the study of history. There are so many books, news articles, etc., that focus almost exclusively on men. When we look at a lot of traditional history books, actions by women from any background are often expressed using the passive voice. So you have, for example, the convent was founded, rather than actually naming the woman or the women who founded the religious house. Often women are partially or entirely erased from the narrative, when their stories made up the fabric of history, just as their male counterparts made history. Amazing women have often remained obscure. Countless women, imperfect and human just like us, have pushed boundaries in big or small ways so that future women could lead better lives. So this could be entering male-dominated spheres, demanding their rights, breaking gender norms, taking on positions of power. The list goes on and on. At times, these women's obscurity is just due to their gender, but it can also be because of multiple forms of discrimination, including social standing, race, and disability. And so, for a long time, I've been keen to investigate the hidden stories of women throughout history. I've learnt that women's rights have not been a linear journey in which things have steadily improved over the years. It's an undulating line that is swept up and down. For instance, in the Middle Ages, there were abbesses of double monasteries, which were monasteries made up of both monks and nuns, meaning that these abbesses had authority over men as well as women. Yes, the church gave these women authority over not just any men, but men who were close to God, who had taken holy orders. These double monasteries don't exist nowadays, at least not in England. Another thing that makes the fight for women's rights an undulating rollercoaster ride is that as time goes by, new issues raise their heads, often due to technological advances. For example, women living 100 years ago didn't have to contend with seeing airbrushed photos. They didn't have to deal with the effect that that can have on people's self-esteem. Nor did they have to deal with artificial intelligence and the biases against women that AI algorithms can produce. Also, regarding AI, you can name many of your devices with a female name, but not give it a male name. And so this reinforces the idea that female entities are there to serve people, to receive commands and obey. For that reason, I don't think the fight for gender equality will ever be over. And I don't think our education will ever end. Happily, nowadays, there is more acceptance of non-heterosexual orientations and of trans people. There is still much work to be done in order for the world to truly celebrate the LGBT plus community. And again, their rights are an undulating line. And there is much more information out there nowadays that can enable neurodivergent people like me to gain a diagnosis. And then there was that Tylenol comment. So again, it's not a linear journey. And so I'm very interested, but also nervous, to see how the fight for justice for marginalised people will continue in the future. Once again, welcome to my podcast, and I hope you enjoy each episode.